Hey GED students, it's GED question of the daytime, and I'm looking at another divisibility problem. So fair warning, if you had anything like this on the GED, you'd want to be able to tackle it without a calculator, So this says list all the factors of 48. And so factors are numbers that you can multiply together, in this case, in order to make 48. And they would be whole numbers that I can multiply together in order to make 48. And so once again, I will say to you that whenever someone tells you to list all the factors, I really advise that you don't just use the think real hard about it method that a lot of students use. Because a lot of students will be like, oh yeah, 6 and 8. And maybe they'll remember, maybe they'll even know their 12 times table, so they'll be like 4 and 12, and then they'll tell me those are the answers, 4, 6, 8, and 12. And even though it's true that those are all factors of 48, those don't represent all the factors of 48. So we need a much more systematic approach to use if we're really going to make sure that we find all the factors without missing any. My advice to you is to use a factor rainbow, because a factor rainbow will basically take factor pairs from smallest to largest, and it'll close in on itself so you'll know when you're done. So remember that a factor rainbow always starts with the number 1, because all numbers are divisible by 1. So every time you're going to start it with 1. Now I'm giving myself a lot of space because I happen to know that 48 has a lot of factors. And I'm going to come over here to the other arch of my rainbow, and this is why I call it a rainbow. And I'm going to list the other side of that fact. 1 times 8 is 4. 1 times what is 48? Of course, it's 1 times 48. And so here on the other end, you'll always have the number itself. Now you might be thinking, but what about all the numbers in between? Well, right away, I've already limited myself. The only factors I'm going to check for here are between 1 and 48. So I'm going to go systematically in order. After asking myself, of course, is 48 divisible by 1? Of course it is. Now I'll ask myself, is 48 divisible by 2? Well, I happen to notice that 48 is even. All even numbers are divisible by 2, and so of course I'll have a 2 right there. But now I need the other side of that fact. 2 times what is 48? And you might be saying, Kate, I don't have my times tables memorized up that high. I don't know 2 times what is 48. So if you don't know the answer, 2 times what, you need to do that opposite operation, division, to figure out what it is. Well, of course, and this is where sight division will really help you, because 2 goes into 4 perfectly 2 times, and 2 goes into 8 perfectly 4 times. And so that's 24. Okay, and now my list is closed in on itself even more. Now I only need to check the numbers between 2 and 24. So let's ask ourselves, is 48 divisible by 3? And all these students say to me, Kate, 48 is not divisible by 3 because it's even. And I say to them, you're a liar. I'm sorry, you're a liar. There's plenty of even numbers that are divisible by 3. For example, 6 is an even number. It's divisible by 3. So you can't tell if a number is divisible by 3 that way. You have options. You can either divide by 3, or you can use your divisibility tricks. I think I'll divide by 3 here anyway, since I need the answer to that for the other side of my rainbow if 3 really does go in. So 3 goes into 4 once, of course, with the remainder 1. And again, I'm doing short or sight division. 3 goes into 18 6 times perfectly with no remainder. And so I know that 3 and 16 are on my list. See my list closing in on itself? That's another factor pair. Now I'll ask myself, is 48 divisible by 4? Is it divisible by 4? And that's one that students don't necessarily have the divisibility rule memorized for, and it wouldn't be super helpful for this problem anyway. So 4 goes into 4 once, and 4 goes into 8 twice perfectly. So obviously it's divisible. So I'll have 4 times 12. Now the next number after 4 is 5 in our number system. Is 48 divisible by 5? And that's a kind of stupid question. Of course it isn't, because everything on the 5 times table ends in 5 or 0. Does 48 end in 5 or 0? No. And so it's not divisible by 5. So next number after 5 is 6. Now I know it's divisible by 6, and I'll show you how I know. Because if it has a 2 in it, and it has a 3 in it, a 2 and a 3 together, 2 times 3 is 6. So it must be divisible by 6. But let's just pretend like you didn't believe me. Let's try counting by 6s. 6, 8. Oh, that's not how you count by 6. Ooh, Kate's tired. Let's try again and really actually count by 6 this time. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48. And you can see when I counted by 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, I got 48, which means 6 times 8 is 48. Now there's only one number to check between 6 and 8, and that's the number 7. And of course, if you know your 7 times tables, 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49. I go right past 48. And so clearly 48 is not on the 7 times tables. 7 is not a factor of 48. And so, oh my goodness, there's so many factors here. Let me just bust out a different color to rewrite my answer. So all the factors of 48 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. And not all the problems are this complex, okay, guys? But they can get that complex, and that's why it helps to have a systematic system like the factor rainbow. And I have, those are all my factors of 48. And so I don't just try to think real hard about it method where I'm likely to miss one or more of these factors. Okay. Again, if you need a full-length video on this, you need more than just a brush up, I suggest you check out my Finding All Factors video. But if you just have a question about this or any other GED topic, be sure to drop it in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer it.